Football season is here, and so of course are our expectations. Longhorns fans, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. It's greatly appreciated. This video is part of HornSports' Longhorns coverage. We appreciate all of your support. So to begin, yes, we enter with Texas's expectations in the 2022 season. Obviously, last year was a little rough. I think all Longhorns fans know by this point that the team finished 5-7. However, there's optimism this year. A new quarterback, maybe enhanced play on the line. We'll see. I'm not going to get ahead of myself there. But the Big 12 seems to be relatively open this year for competition. I know Oklahoma seems to be the favorite by many, but a new head coach, does that change things? Lincoln Riley didn't always do too hot though, so we will see. What is interesting about this Texas team this year, in my opinion, is that the defense seems to be relatively experienced this season. Ironically enough, they were the lesser of the two halves last year. And on the other side, the offense is relatively inexperienced this season, but seems to have a higher floor. Yet again, we'll see there. But defense, you got guys returning such as DeMarvion Overshown, Keandre Coburn, Byron Murphy, the freshman from last year, who might sneakily be the best player on that defense. I don't want to say too much there. And Deshaun Jameson. So a lot of returning guys, but guys that did not necessarily live up to expectations last season. Will they be able to do it in year two under coach or defensive coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski? We shall see. Last year, the Longhorns let up 31.1 points per game on average, which, if you could do the math, doesn't put you in a great position on offense that you're going to have to score over 31 per game. Texas actually did that in their averages, but obviously if you look at the season record, it was not good enough. Now, some things that I'm noting this season, which, for expectations should be noted, is that the offensive line might be the most critical position group for this team this season. At the beginning of the season, it is possible that the Longhorns will be starting 4 underclassmen on that offensive line, and everyone knows about the very talented freshman group. Kelvin Banks seems to be the prized possession right now on that. He might be starting at left tackle week 1. We'll see. But in terms of that offensive line, it's one thing that you have a lot of talented freshmen. Can one of those freshmen or underclassmen become the best player on the line and also become a leader? Leadership's important. In the past, Texas has had players that have been leaders on the offensive line, but not necessarily NFL caliber players. Can someone that's NFL draft worthy for one and make it up to round 1 projection be the vocal leader of the group? I've heard from several sites that Kelvin Banks seems to be stepping up in that role, but he's still young and still got work to prove on the field. So we'll see. And then at quarterback, of course, you got Quinn Ewers, the transfer from Ohio State. I believe he played for about 2 or 3 snaps at Ohio State, so this is basically his freshman season. Obviously, he graduated high school a year early, so he would have been in this class regardless anyways. But now that Ewers is there and Card is the backup, we'll see how things shake out. For Ewers' expectations, I put down some numbers that I'd like to see him surpass, but even my numbers might be a little modest, and under Sark, it's possible that he could do more, obviously, if he lives up to the expectations. I have passing for at least 3,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, and keeping interceptions to below 10. Now, last season, there were only 2 passers in the Big 12 that passed for over 3,000 yards. That was Brock Purdy at Iowa State and Jarrett Dahey at West Virginia. However, Casey Thompson, in the limited amount of games he played / started, led the Big 12 in passing touchdowns with 24. I don't think it would be too crazy to think that Ewers could put up some big numbers if given playing time and, knock on wood, stays healthy. And of course, lives up to the expectations, as I said. But we shall see. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. And then Bijan Robinson, I want to see him get at least 2,000 all-purpose yards, 1,700 rushing yards, and approximately 16 or more touchdowns. For me, would be the number that I'd like to see. He shows excellence, but I'd like to see some consistency in that excellence. He doesn't too often have a down game, but there are games where he goes okay. He gives you a decent performance, and there's games where he knocks the socks off. We'd like to see a little bit more of those socks coming off. And then, of course, with the new mustard product, it's like a touchdown in your mouth. I mean, you got to be selling some of those products on the football field as well with your play. But yet again, Quinn Ewers, the big question there at quarterback, in my opinion, is can he stay efficient? At high school level, people have been maybe claiming that he's a bit of a gunslinger, which I would agree with. But in high school, if you go look at his stats, he was not throwing too many interceptions at South Lake Carroll. But college obviously is a different beast. Reports out of scrimmages were that both Card and Ewers were having a little bit of a turnover battle going on, which maybe is a credit to the defense. Let's hope so, and not so much the quarterback play. But yet again, they're still getting experience. They're still getting reps every week. Not too worried yet, but we'll see as the weeks progress this season. And then I had to note some of the big games. Of course, you can't miss these big games. The first one being a ticket price that's, I've heard $400. I don't know what it's at currently. The Alabama Week 2 matchup, the number 1 ranked team in the country. Then you got Oklahoma in October. I believe it's the 8th, the 9th ranked team in the country. These are all preseason polls, so mind that. And then later in October, you're at Oklahoma State, number 12. And then that Thanksgiving week, Baylor, a home game, number 10. Those are the 4 key games that you circle on the schedule already this season. If Texas is even able to win 2 of those games and stay clean in the other games, Longhorns fans, that they like to drop at least a game or 2. If they can win at least 2 of those and stay clean, then this makes for an interesting year this season, and they could, legitimately compete for a Big 12 title. If not, then obviously you go back to the drawing board. But, as long as you get a decent improvement from 5 and 7, I think you take it. In my opinion, I don't know if the Longhorns will be able to do what I just said, keep clean, and then win at least 2. I got them winning about 8 games this season, go 8-4. Yet again, this is a very interesting Longhorns team. There's a lot of youth and experience that we have not been seeing on the field just quite yet. Of course, the season hasn't kicked off. And, at quarterback and offense in general, we don't quite know what we're getting yet. I mean, Bijan Robinson, Roschon Johnson, the running back room's going to be there. But overall, I think this is more of a rebuilding year to getting back to where they want to be for the next season. But yet again, this team is full of surprises. Texas likes to lose some games that they shouldn't. They could go under that 8-win total. And then on the other end, maybe, some of the players that I mentioned earlier in this video really step up and have big years and win 10 games and compete for that Big 12 title. Not really sure there. I'm going to aim right down the middle and go 8-4, potentially winning a big game, potentially losing another or dropping another against a lesser opponent. I don't want to call out any opponents, but talent-wise, Texas, should be competing week in and week out. So what do you guys think about this year's Longhorns team? What are the expectations? I'm doing some table setting for you. Go ahead and enjoy the meal and tell me, where do you think they're going to end up this year? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.